So in this video, I'm going to be going over two beautiful Bible manuscripts that date all the way back to the early 11th century. So you're going to want to watch the full video to learn a lot of cool stuff about these items, as well as checking out the close-up shots where you can see it in a lot more detail and enjoy the beauty that they have. So as I mentioned in the introduction, these manuscripts are extremely old. They're well over 1,000 years old, being dated to precisely 1000 to 1020 AD, which is very specific dating, but we can tell that date based off of the script on there. I worked with a couple people in the UK, and these experts were confident that these manuscripts right here date to 1000 to 1020 AD, so with it being 2024, that puts these over 1,000 years old, assuming that this was written at the latter part of the date. Now these manuscripts are rather small. They come from the same Bible, so they'd be considered sister leaves. Absolutely beautiful, very, very rare, and of course extremely old, as I just mentioned. One of the ways we're able to date this is taking the text as a whole, or the script as a whole. You can't just look at one word and say, oh, it was written around this time period. You have to look at all the font and all the different letters and all the script and be able to get that general idea of exactly when this is dated to. So that's what was done there, making these extremely old. Now, even though they're old, they're much more durable than the other manuscripts that I've shown. For example, the 12th century manuscript that I talked about in the previous video, you can of course check out the link for that. That one was a very fragile manuscript. I had to be really careful with this. And of course, I have to be careful with these as well, but they're much durable, and the vellum itself is much thicker, much stronger than the other leaf that I had in the previous video. Now the passage that's found on these particular leaves comes from Luke's Gospel. So a New Testament manuscript, especially this old, is exceptionally rare, very difficult to come by. Often you'll see Old Testament leaves come on the market for sale, but these being from Luke's Gospel make them far rarer. For example, this particular manuscript comes from chapter 10. This has the famous story of Martha, where Martha and her sister invite Jesus and his disciples into their home, and while they're there, Martha's sister is listening to Christ's teaching while Martha's running around being a busybody in the house, and Jesus of course tells her, Martha, Martha, why are you so anxious? So that story can be found on this particular leaf from chapter 10. This is the other leaf for chapter 11. This tells the very famous recounting of Christ's model prayer for the disciples. So the disciples, of course, ask Jesus, how are we to pray? And he goes into this prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Very, very famous and popular verse, something that many, many people across the world are familiar with. Really just amazing items. I've loved having them in my collection. They're currently for sale right now on my eBay shop, so if you're interested in buying them, you can check out the eBay link below in the description and find a lot of interesting items for sale if you want to start collecting or if you want to add to your collection. Absolutely love doing this. If you haven't done so, of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on videos like this. You can also check out my YouTube shorts. I do these shorts every other day where I talk about different Bible stories and I tie them in to the manuscript. And for example, I did some shorts on these particular manuscripts, so I talked about the story of Martha and I tied it into this item. Really just awesome stories. I love God's Word and I love sharing it with people. I also love collecting it. I love history, so I don't always talk about just Bible stories, but I'll talk about other interesting items as well. So with these being extremely old and very rare, as well as having desirable passages, makes them very valuable. When I bought these, though, I was told that they were from the 9th century, which would make them extremely old and very, very valuable, but unfortunately that was not the case. I did confirm this with those people in the UK, and so they are still very old, but not quite as old as I had hoped, which is one of the reasons I'm selling it. Really, I have other items in my collection that I really enjoy that also date to the 11th century, so these are just something that are awesome pieces, but I'm willing to sell to someone who may want to add them to their collection. So again, be sure to subscribe, check out the close-up shots at the end, you can see it in a lot more detail, check out these amazing items, and of course, watch the other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.